SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, is available to qualified adults. But how do you know if you're eligible, and how much trouble is it to fill out and submit an application? Marianne Katile joins us from Jewish Family Services of Tidewater, which offers a time-limited service to help take the stress out of the application process for a certain age group of people. Marianne, thank you for sharing this information. Food stamps, or SNAP as it is now known, is many people may know about it, but they figure, why bother? You know, I won't get but so much money anyway.
Right.
But there's really a little faulty thinking in that, because every little bit could count.
Oh, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that Maison, who is the organization that is funding this project for us, has allowed the organization to be inclusive of people who are 50 and older.
Okay.
So unlike the senior population, who's defined as 60, the mature 50 to 59-year-olds are going to be included. And we have some barrier breaking to do, and it's been, you know, a long time. This isn't a new thing, but it's very difficult for people of a certain age to accept some help. And there are challenges with mobility and technology and transportation.
And pride.
And pride, absolutely.
Yes.
Pride is huge.
Yes.
And so those are the types of things that we're going to be working with. We're doing outreach, and one of the exciting things to me about this program is that we can go out to somebody's home and help them fill the application out. We've purchased a couple of laptop type computers, and we have some modems, and we can just power right up in their home, and we can help fill the application out. So we're not eligibility workers in any sense of the word. But we are coaches, so we're helping people, we're coaching them through the application, we're helping them to feel comfortable, we're helping them to figure out what kind of paperwork they're going to need to gather so that when they do have their interview with social services, they'll be prepared. We're helping them to upload any information that needs to be uploaded, because, you know, you're 70 years old, 75 years old, you don't know how to do that stuff.
It doesn't come easily.
That's right. If
you
you're
know,
55
yes.
years old, many times you don't know how to do that. And the application can be a little formidable, especially that, you know, there's a paper application that people can submit, and that tends to be a very long application. And as soon as somebody sees it, then sometimes it can be completely over right at that moment.
Yeah, it's overwhelming to think, you know, what do I wouldn't even know where to begin, right?
Absolutely.
So you show them how to begin.
We do. That's exactly what we do. We show them how to begin. We help them to be comfortable. We let them know that they're not alone, that this is, you know, something that a lot of people need, and, you know, 3 out of 5 people who qualify for this program never even seek assistance because of some of the barriers that they're facing.
Wow.
And the numbers are huge. I think it's 5.4 million people who are seniors are in need of some sort of food assistance. You know, they are food insecure. And now the figures are just staggering. There are 10,000 baby boomers each day that will turn 65 by 2029. So more and more, we're going to be seeing the numbers rise for people who are in those age groups who need help. Because 1 in 7 seniors are in poverty, and, you know, there is not a lot of help out there. So we're excited. We're really excited about this program, and that we can, you know, have people come into our office and fill the applications out, and if there are some mobility challenges, we can get out to where they are. We're working to let people know about the program. We're partnering with agencies. We've been in touch with the senior services and with all of the community services boards and with the food banks. And so we're really trying to get the word out.
Well, I think that knowing that people don't necessarily have to come to you if there is a challenge in getting to a location, that you can come to them is huge, and that is a barrier for many people. They reach a point where they really don't, and they may not be of the frame of mind where they really feel like trying that hard either. So it's one more reason not to do it. Certainly, applying for food assistance is. It requires some organization and a little bit of focus and work. It means sharing information about yourself that you may or may not feel comfortable sharing, but
Absolutely.
if it helps you get a little extra money a month, and in some cases it's not a huge amount, but there are limits to how much money one can receive anyway, but you know, I would not think of that as a deterrent because it all adds up. We were talking about how, you know, there can be even $16 a month, which may not seem like much to someone who may qualify for that amount, can make a difference.
Right. And $16 a month sometimes is a barrier for people because they hear that somebody is only getting $16 a month and they think, why should I bother to apply for that? That's nothing.
Right.
But in fact, $16 a month can buy 2 pounds of chicken legs, a bag of potatoes, a pound of carrots, a gallon of milk, a dozen eggs, 3 bananas, 2 oranges. So when you look at it that way, it really sheds a little bit of a different light. And if I said to you, Jan, here's a $15 coupon to take to Walmart to spend on food, I bet you wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah.
And if I gave it to you every month, it certainly would help you.
It's a really good way of looking at it. That certainly sort of eliminates that whole resistance to thinking, I'm accepting something that, I shouldn't talk to anybody about. So
Absolutely.
money is money.
Absolutely. And the way it's done now is so different. It goes on the Cardinal card.
Right.
And it's an EBT card. So, the money gets transferred into the person's account on a certain day of the month. They go shopping whenever they want to go shopping. They can look at those sales and cut those coupons to make their money go further. And then, when they go shopping, they swipe their card just like I do or you do when we go to the grocery store. They load up their groceries and go. So I think some of the stigma is certainly a huge problem still. But it's being whittled away by things like putting the funds on the EBT card. And I think that if we can all work to minimize, how people feel about this, because we never know when we're going to be in that position. Right. I talked with a woman the other day, and she and her husband had moved to Florida. They were going to, they thought, live out their retirement years in this wonderful community in Naples. And they got sick and they weren't able to continue to pay for their house. So their house was foreclosed on. And now they're back in this area and they're really struggling. And they're very proud and they don't want to take any kind of help. And, I'm hopeful that after we continue to talk, that they will be willing to sit down with me and do an application. But that's the type of people that we want to reach. We want to reach the people who are struggling, who are food insecure, and who qualify for this program and are entitled to be part of this program. This is not a welfare program.
Well, if they're entitled to being treated like everybody else, and this is one way to keep nutritious food on the table for people who are struggling. And it doesn't matter who you are or were. That doesn't change who you are, it just helps you remain stable.
That's right. And physically, as we age, we have different nutritional needs for our bodies. And I think the statistic is that 40% of people who are elderly have congestive heart failure, and
Wow.
that's directly correlated to their nutrition. So the better nutrition, the better their health.
Okay, well, makes perfect sense. And the age group of 50 to 59, which is an interesting age group, but that's also a time when people start to really experience health issues and struggle with some of the financial issues that are a result of that, as you
Absolutely.
mentioned. So,
When I learned that the program was going to be extended to that age group, I thought, oh, I'm in that age group. You know,
Oh, my.
my husband's in that age group. Oh no. But you know, when you think about it, computers are not what we grew up
exactly.
with.
You're still part of a
So
generation that was new to.
Absolutely.
And, so there are going
And
to be people who never did catch up.
that's right. And that technology is, you know, a real barrier to a lot
Yes.
of people. So, you know, for those people too, we're there, we're helping, and, you know, we want the information to get out. And to the program is available to everybody. It's completely free of charge.
And it's confidential.
Absolutely.
So that's part of the, I think,
Absolutely.
what could be good about it if people are concerned about that sort of thing. So you have a number that you can call, and Marianne, of course, is working with this program now, and talk to one of the folks there who will hook you up with
Okay.
a SNAP coach.
Absolutely.
Snappy name, but for a very good thing. And so don't discount that, yeah, you know, you don't want to be bothered, or nah, I wouldn't qualify. Give it a try. I know they'd be glad to hear from you. That's why they're there.
Absolutely.
And that's why Marianne's here
Absolutely.
today, too, is just to share a really, really good program and some great outreach.
Okay. Well, thank you
Marianne.
very, very much for having us.
All
We
right.
really appreciate your helping
Yes.
to get the word out.
Yes, and thank you, Family Jewish Service Tidewater, for, you know, providing this opportunity. We know there are people who do appreciate it,
Well.
and hopefully many more of you will.
Thanks.
Thanks. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Bye.